Hey guys, this is Spark Plus Ultra here, and this is my new part 4 on with Deku had Blaze the Cat powers. The Fire Princess versus the Nomu. And I hope you like this video. Zumi Midoriya was trying to get out of her house while her mom and dad were having a little bit of a discuss with her on how is she hurt or anything else. And Zumi says, I'm fine. I was annoyed with one person, but not hurt. I thought you've been over this. And Zumi's mom says, I know. I'm just worried. I don't want to see you hurt. And Zumi's dad says, but are you doing good on your grades as well? Zumi says, and sighs with a moment of reluctance. Yes, Dad. I'm doing really good on my work. And Zumi's father says, good. It's important to do the work as well. And Zumi says, jeez, you don't even let me be myself, putting too much burden. Zumi's father says, I know, I'm just worried. And Zumi says, I'll let you know when I'm in trouble. Okay? Smiling back. And Inko and her father says, okay. And Zumi says, see ya. While walking to UA. While walking from her house, she sees a news report crew in front of the school door. And Zumi says, why are they... And thinking back, it might have been All Might that they got drowned. And Zumi sighs and says, oh, some heroes have the thing just to them following them. And Zumi walking from, and the news reporter asks her, you young woman. And Zumi says, pardon? What All Might like in UA? As Zumi says, what does All Might like in UA? And thinking on what she meant, and Zumi thinks, oh, I think he's a very good teacher. And the news reporter says, thanks. And Zumi walks from school into school while the news reporter says, hey, you look familiar. Do I recognize you? And Zumi says, no. Nobody, you know. And Zumi walks fast. And Zumi sighs and says, jeez, that was close. Didn't want anybody to figure out I'm princess already. And going into school, Silver and Ida and Machako were very surprised on how many news reporters talked to them and asked questions. Zumi was chuckling, says, "Geez, in my past, it was a hard time." Silver says, "To clarify that," and Zumi says, "Oh," whispering in his ear, saying, "It was a time when I was in royalty, but I was more just annoyed about the popularity. So I my look." And Silver realized, "Oh, so that's how why the people didn't recognize you." And Zumi says, "That's you got that." And Zumi was getting into the seat while hearing who will be the school Class 1A's president and vice president. Ida says, "Okay, everybody, you can vote for the person you want for class president." And Zumi votes for Ida, while everybody votes for her and Momo as vice president. Zumi says, "Huh? Why am I president again?" Questioning about why she's the class president. And Ida was, "Oh, you have great thinking on dealing with people and how you were used to and thinking school works and how you create a very good situation in a bad time. I think you should be the president." Silver says, "Plus, you're one of the nicest to talk to." And Zumi says, "Okay, I'll try my best." Blushing and getting a happy smile, Zumi and all the class go to lunch, and Zumi and Silver, Ida, Achako sit together. They talk and how it was and explaining their past and their family. Well, except Zumi, who keeps it a secret, except Silver. Then, when Zumi was surprised on how Ida's family is, a blonde kid was laughing and explaining how he dislikes Class 1A. And Azumi says, "Is he alright?" And Monoma was very sticklish, where he was taunting and how Class 1A would be a very nuisance with getting people in trouble. But Kendo chops his neck. And Kendo says, sorry about that. He has a inferiority complex. And Zumi says, nice chop. You can teach me anytime if you want. And Kendo says, thanks. And carries Monoma to the Class 1B. And Silver and all in the group think, so she's like Class 1B's big sister. And the bus where all of Class 1A gets into the bus, and Zumi says single file, telling them to sit anywhere and be in good behavior. Sort of like a kindergarten teacher, but she's very gentle to feel, talk to. And Zumi and all of Class 1B and A sits and goes to USJ. And Azawa says, okay, time to get off the bus. And all of Class 1A have gotten off the bus and meets 13. And she tells the class how the USJ was made for saving and helping and teaching the kids about how their quirks can save people, but also might endanger people. Even the simplest quirk can even hurt a civilian. Sumi looks at her flames, and knowing how that was a problem back then when she was still used to her, getting used to her power. Sumi gets ready, and Silver says, are you okay, Zumi? And Zumi says, yep, I'm fine. Then a portal comes out, bringing villains out. And the class says, is the training starting now? And Zawa says, no. 13 points out these are real villains. Zumi and all Class 1A are surprised on how villains got into the USJ. Zawa goes and takes the villains out all by himself, keeping them from a distance from the Class 1A. Komagiri says, we are the League of Villains, and we will have to say sorry for the truth, but we want to make it clear that we will have a take these hits, and 13 was keeping the two, Bakugo and Kirishima, but Bakugo and Kirishima go in front and try to take him down. But Komagiri dodges it and says, now you will face the power. And Komagiri teleports half of Class 1A. Sumi gets teleported, but Silver stays in the same as the half of the other Class 1A. Sumi teleports to the wire, and Sumi was saying, great, more heights, and using her fire to hover in the air and landing on the boat. Whew, that was close. And looking in at the water, seeing Sue and Manetta, and telling Sue to get on the boat quick. And Sue puts Manetta and gets on the boat. And all the students have changed to their different places from different saving attributes. And the villains don't know that they're quirks and what they can do. But Zumi's quirk was not used to, well, water, but it is pretty obvious that taking a guess that fire extinguish gets extinguished by water. So Sue says, I can't take down all how my quirk. Yeah, my quirk can't work with this. Point. And Zumi has a plan. But this one is not her favorite one. Okay, I'm going to tell you about this plan. And explains it to Sue and Mineta. And Mineta says, are you serious? I mean, it might work, but your quirk does not work in water. Zumi says, don't underestimate my fire, but it's not used to water. Well, that depends on how well. Then Mineta says, what are you talking about? Zumi says, ready? And Mineta says, wait. And Sue also says, what are you? And Sue, and she's really gonna do it. Then Zumi spins on top of the wheel, the hinge of the boat, and spins as a human fire tornado, and spins at incredible heat that is comparable to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. And the villains feel the water heating up like a hot spring or a geyser getting ready to shoot out, feeling the water boil. And Sue says, Mineta, now! Okay. And throws the balls at them, nearly bleeding his head off. And Zumi gets tired and says, Sue, now! Jumping off the boat, and her fire turns down. Sue's saying, I didn't know you had that power in you. Uzumi sighs and says, well, my quirk is basically using heat from inertia and using a jet's propulsion. So I thought it would work. Lucky it did. and Sumi and to land near the battle there. Azawa is taking down the villains. And losing to the Nomu, who Shigaraki decays his arm. And then Shigaraki get his hand here. Zumi. And Zumi's ear flickers. And dodging his grasp of his touch. And Shigaraki says, "You're a quick one." Then Azumi uses her kick to get rid of Shigaraki's grasp, getting him off guard. And Shigaraki says, "You'll pay for that." Then Zumi jumps into the air while pushing herself to kick Shigaraki's arm. Zumi propels herself with her fire and turning her propel into a spin, making her a firenado and kicking the Nomu's hand off of on Azawa. And Azawa says, "Thanks." And Sue and Mina get Azawa out of and carrying him. Zumi says, "Now, are you taking this seriously, or am I gonna beat you?" Shigaraki says, "Well, we are alright taking it lightly, but if you want to take it seriously, Nomu, get her." And the Nomu comes at her with a shockwave of a speed. And Zumi ear flicker, feeling the draft, dodging his punch over a moment's notice. And Nomu's punch creates a whirlwind for about similar to All Might's air pressure punch. And Zumi noticed how similar the punch was. She never watched that many All Might fights, but she can recognize them. And Zumi is surprised. Then the Nomu uses a kick to a push kick. And Zumi braces for impact and gets kicked to the water, skipping like a stone. And Zumi Silver feels the wind from his hair and realizes that Zumi is facing the Nomu and got knocked through and got kicked into the water. Silver says, "Huh? No!" Then the Silver uses psychokinesis and holds on to Zumi and flies to her and saying, "You guys take care of Tomagiri. I need to check on Zumi." And the students say, "Okay, but be careful." And Silver says, "Got it." Silver rushes to Zumi. And Zumi shaking her arms on how surprised she is. And she realizes her fire she can't get close to him with that strength. And Silver makes it to Zumi and says, "Are you okay?" And looking at her arms, and Silver says, "Whoa! That guy kicked you hard!" And Zumi says, "Ow! That's gotta sting." And Silver says, "How are you brushing it off?" Zumi says, "Not." Silver is not in happy mood, but Silver says, "You need to get to the nurse." Zumi says, "No." Silver replies by saying, "What?" Zumi explains that the Nomu is like All Might. His speed, power is similar. And Zumi says, "I need your help. We can stall it some time." Silver says, "Fine, but I'm not powerful enough to keep it still. My psychokinesis cannot held up people with human strength." "Well, then this one is easy enough." Zumi and Silver go back to the plant, and Shigaraki says, "Oh, you again. Want to have a rematch?" And Zumi says, "You bet I am." And Shigaraki says, "No, never hell." And the Nomu goes and attacks Zumi, but Zumi dodges, saying, Your speed is pretty good, but I can see it again. Zumi says, I am not impressed on how you use the same punch. And Silver says, well, mind if I use something to throw it at him? Be all means. Go ahead. And Silver throws chunks of stone and a boat at the Nomu. Psychokinesis? Collage. Making him putting all the force into the Nomu, trying to keep him still. And Silver says, Sumi, now! Propelling herself once more, she says, you might have surprised me, but this time it won't work again. And she spins and uses her flame axle kick. And there, burning a mark on the Nomu, knocking him down. That was a burning passion. Then Silver says, it wasn't so bad. And Shigaraki laughs and says, you think that was all? You haven't seen anything. And Nomu regenerates. And Sumi, surprise. And Nomu targets Silver. And Izumi looks at Silver and pushes him away from the Nomu and takes the hit again and throwing her back to the stairs. And Silver says, Sumi! Running to her. And Shigaraki says, you're too weak. You can't rely on your brute force. And Sumi thinks to herself, rely on myself. But then, something shines. Shining like 7 emeralds. A green, bigger emerald comes up and says, shines like a burning light. Then the green emerald granted her wish. 7 soul emeralds and come together. She can willingly be using them. And the soul emeralds. Red, blue, green, yellow, light blue, and white. Circle around Sumi. And Sumi floats up and looks at and looks around. Huh? Soul emeralds? How did I know what they are? Thinking to herself. And Silver, surprised, and sees Sumi transformed into burning blaze of fire. And Izumi wakes up and sees her power burning. And Shigaragi says, "Oh, new form. Well, this is gonna be easy again. Nomo, take care of her." And the Nomu, once again, bursting with speed. But then, Sumi just speed behind him and says, "Don't you ever give up," and punches the Nomu up and says, "This is for targeting us," and using the fireball, creating it in her hand. Fireball! And shooting it out of her hand. And the Nomu gets hit and burns into cindering ashes. And Shigaragi gets angry. "No, my Nomu." And Zumi lasted for 1 minute. Gets tired. And Silver says, "Sumi!" And grabbing her and seeing her knocked, well, passing out, All Might came, and Shigaragi gets angry at Sumi. Villains escaped, but luckily Sumi got healed by those soul emeralds. No massive damage. And Azawa says 1 week off from school. And they come back. And I hope you like this video and hope you subscribe. See you next time. Plus Ultra.